Yo ho ho! What's going on, guys? This is Grim Reaper bringing you another Patreon special. Today, this video is actually brought to you through video request from Drag Logia. His question of choice was, which cadre do you think can still currently beat Garou? That being said, we make up the matchup, as you already seen in the thumbnail, for Overgrown Rover versus Garou. With the question not being as what it is, you guys should know that I'm implying that Rover can beat current Garou right now, and the video will be explaining that. If you guys would also like to have your own video requests, you can select a particular tier in our Patreon. If you guys want to check that out, we have several different tiers: $2, $5, $10, $20, $50. Whatever you want to donate to help, you get different perks and privileges along the way. Let's get into it now. Garou is powerful. The biggest question or the biggest problem that comes into my mind whenever I think about anybody beating Garou, but in this case Rover beating Garou, is how much Garou can take now, and that punch that he did that matched the bazooka. So first, let's talk about the punch. Previously, we saw what Garou could do offensively up against Rover, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything substantial. It wasn't anything to be like afraid of, or that we really had like reason to believe that like Rover would have trouble dealing with it. We didn't get that instance, or that like I didn't get that feel at all whatsoever. At the same time, that was back then around like chapter 92, I believe it was. He's encountered since that point Giro, Orochi, um, Darkshine, Pooty, for about four different individuals. We could say that his growth has been exponential and explosive since the Rover period, but I don't think that's going to be the catalyst. So I guess the biggest point to draw from it is like how powerful was the Super Alloy Bazooka? Like obviously Garou matched it. Darcy didn't get pushed back, Garou didn't get pushed back, but everything around him got pulverized. The walls, everything around him, the ruins of from the tackle or whatever. It was a tremendous hit, a tremendous clash. But like, is that gonna happen to Rover? Like, with that, I'm not expecting that same result to be Rover. Like, I don't think Garou can punch Rover and then he'll like be pulverized like that. But how much more destructive is he from that point compared to this point? I know it's a measure of like Darkshine by saying like, oh, he's obviously as strong as Darkshine was, and like, I guess we can compare Darkshine to that point before, but we don't really have a good like, I guess like a good stepping stone, a lily pad to like compare all of them. Like, if it was something to where, I guess the best evidence is Bug God, right? Not immediately before it, but around the same time period that Garou ended up going to fight Rover was about right after he woke up from the fight with Roy Ripper and Bug God. So immediately from waking up from that defeat, he encountered Rover after killing Royal Ripper and after eating some flesh from monsters or whatever. But he did fail to like punch through Bug God. Bug God like tanked it like nothing. So I guess a good question would be like, from the fight with Bug God to the point where he fought Rover, how much of a difference was there? Because there was a clear difference. Like, there was a clear difference there. In the fight with Bug God and Royal Ripper, he said that he's pretty confident. He was capable of winning the fight. He had the handle of the situation before the slime came up behind him and distracted him as he took Tadio, and then Royal Ripper came from behind him and took him out. So let's say that like that growth is exponential. Maybe not exponential. Let's say it's like a five, right? To give it a numerical value, let's say it's like a five, that growth, right? We're comparing Darkshine's one-handed like explosion, just evaporated, unamplified, stronger form of Bug God. So it's not the one that we saw before back then. And Garou matched the clash. And as we mentioned, the only person he really fought in between that was Orochi, Giro, and Pooty. Then he was already at the point where he could match Darkshine. Those are three huge obstacles, two huge obstacles. We can leave Pooty to the side, but like Overcoming Garou was a feat, and like dealing with Orochi was a feat as well. So the question is like, if the first growth point is a 5, right? It has to be like a 25. Like it really comes down to like how much stock you put into Darkshine. Because I have a lot of stock in Darkshine, but I don't. But my stock for Darkshine isn't like the same as everybody else's. I do hold a little bit more. I am more reserved for the hype for Darkshine now. I was expecting more and I didn't get it. So we'll see what happens with that. But like, I definitely think that Garou's growth was larger in his contrast whenever he like finished up the sleep from the Orochi fight when he woke up from that. So is that strong enough to actually hurt Rover? I don't think that's strong enough to match what we saw Saitama do. So even if Darkshine were to hit Garou or hit Rover at full power, even if Garou were to do the same hit since they matched their similar power, maybe Garou's even stronger. I don't think Rover would be like knocked out. If he did get knocked out, it would be for less time than it would for Saitama. And Saitama, like Rover got up in seconds. Seconds it seemed like from the Rover punch, from the Saitama punch. So it's like it's hard because we don't know how endurant he is. Like there aren't people that are really like beating on Rover. Like they're not. People that get like really good hits on Rover, he eats him like nothing. So we can't really get a grasp of like where the limit is to his endurance. Like we know that at a certain point he'll become submissive, but is it plausible to say that Garou could reproduce the same damage that Bang and Bomb did in order to like submissify or like submit Rover? Can Garou make Rover submit? I personally don't think the cross fang fist or the cross dragon fist that Garou has is as strong as the one that Bang and Bomb have. And if that's the case, then no. I think I'm still right that I don't think Garou could actually like make Rover submit. Now, I'll add a different factor to it too, because it adds to the next category. Garou's endurance. We know that Rover's offensive power is probably the best of the dragons. Stronger than Phoenix, stronger than Goketsu. About as destructive as EC, but it's not really EC's attack, it's his movement. Surpasses Carnage, Vaccine, probably around the same vaccine. Nah, Rover probably surpasses Vaccine. Vaccine is pretty powerful. Most of the guys aren't as destructive as Rover. And at that time period, Garou tanked point blank attacks. More than one, too. Not to mention flying around with his speed, being evasive and stuff. A current fight up against Rover and Garou would take longer than the other one before. I want to give a good, like, it's hard for me to give like exact value to it. Like, I want to say that it's gonna take a lot longer because they're both crazy endurant, but like at the same time, it really feels like Garou might reach the point where he could make Rover submit before like anything else would happen because he's not killing Rover, he's not knocking him out. That's not happening. It's not happening. But Rover, like, it doesn't matter like how much Rover's like sending after Garou. He's not going down with a few hits. Like he not only took the punch from Orochi, but he sat there and took a full beam from Orochi too. Like he's a tackle from Darkshine too, cracked his entire rib cage. Like he's dealt with so much, and I can't pretend like I'll say it. Four or five Rover blasts to the face would take out Garou. Maybe. That's like a 60-40 conversation. Maybe even a 65, 35. However you want to position it, fine. All I'm saying is that I don't think Garou yet has the offensive prowess to seriously harm Rover because his defense is so high. He also has a lot of endurance because we've seen him take high level attacks from several different people and get back up and keep going. So it's not only that he has a high defense, he can take a lot of attacks too. That's a problem. That's a problem. You can't fight somebody like that easily. There isn't even very many loopholes for that. Like you have to bring out hacks to deal with that, and hacks might not even work. Like somebody who can like not only tank some of your strongest attacks or deal with your strongest attacks or block or stop or confidently deflect your strongest attacks, but when you land them, they almost like don't phase him, or he can deal with several of them landing. That's a problem. And then at the same time, he's still dealing tremendous damage to you, not ceasing at all. You remember in the new Fubuki group fight with Rover, they mentioned several times that it was all they could do to get him away, to get Rover away from them. And even then, they only had like a few panels worth of like break or rest before he busts through a wall and sends them out. Not to mention him curving his attacks to go after you as well. Like he's ferocious. He's ferocious, constant, and consistent. That's dangerous in any situation, like financially, like relationship wise, sports wise, consistency, and like being good. Like, bro, that's so effective, and that's really what Rover is. And I can't take that away from Garou either. Like as we just mentioned, like he not only encountered this from Garou, but he also encountered Orochi right after encountering Rover. So it's not like he can't deal with high level attacks and keep going. He can also deal with high level attacks, multiples of them as well. If anything, I'll say that Garou's endurance is higher than his defense. Maybe that's a little bit weird to like comprehend, but it means that like if you have an attack that's a level 10, and that's like, you know, numerically won't help. Like strong attacks may be able to hurt him, but he can take a lot of them, a lot of strong attacks. While Rover, you may need like the pinnacle of strongest attacks in order to actually start hurting him, or to actually like make him, I don't know, discombobulate him, whatever you want to. Then he'll be able to get back up. You have to deal with like 2 or 3 more of those, and most people don't have 2 or 3 of them. I'm not saying that like, for example, back when Child Emperor had the Nova, that like Rover was gonna take a Nova or 2, but like we'd be having a conversation. There may be even people in the community who believe that Rover could have tanked a Nova, even though I'm not one of them. But that's just that perspective. That's why I think that Overgrown Rover is currently still able to beat Garou. Not only has like the speed of his attacks and the ferocity and consistency of his attacks, but he's able to take a lot of the punishment that Garou would be able to deal out to him with great difficulty. And I feel like it would be similar to what happened last time in their previous encounter, but just more drawn out. Rover's a tough guy to beat. With that being said, that should be it. Shout out to Drag Logia 5 for the video topic, and we'll see y'all boys tomorrow. Yo ho ho!